The 5 keys to a happy sex life. Hi, my name is Martha. I'm a clinical sexologist and relationship counselor. I have a master's in counseling and a doctorate in human sexuality. On top of the many other trainings and degrees that I have 4 degrees. And I've been in practice for 8 years. I'm from Eros Coaching, that's eroscoaching.com. So I was asked what are the 5 keys to a happy sex life. And so I'm going to try to unpack them in this video. Number 1 to having a happy sex life is to really take the time to learn about yourself. Learn about yourself, your needs, your wants, your desires when it comes to sex. Number 2, be able to respect the differences that you and your partner has. You have your needs, wants, desire. Your partner will have their needs, wants, and desires. You will prefer something, your partner will prefer something else. So this is not about the fact that you're not in love with each other. Differences will happen. And it's not true that just because you love each other that we're supposed to love the same things. You will not. So it's really important. First, you have a strong sense of yourself, and then you have a strong sense of what your partner is like, and you respect each other. That's number 2. You have to begin to respect each other's differences. So much so that the differences becomes a strength in your relationship, not a weakness. Lots of couples don't even try to communicate, negotiate, and compromise and talk about these differences and how to make it work to the extent that they're comfortable. So this brings me to point number 3, which is about being able to talk about it, negotiate it, compromise, so that you work at it. So part of respecting your partner is this is what it is. And the next step is what can I do to give to them, to be generous to them, to have some kind of, I'm not willing to do these 10 things, but I'm willing to do this one thing for now. And let's continue our conversation. So it's really important to be able to talk to each other and be able to understand part of being in a relationship is I want to please my partner, and it's okay if I cannot please my partner all the way. And your partner also needs to be okay with knowing that it's okay to ask for what they want, because a lot of people feel that they're not going to like this anyway, so I just shut up, I'll just not express myself. And actually this ends up building resentment and repression. So speaking about it, even though it's not fulfilled, is part of the process, and it is important to talk about it even if you don't get it. People who are very pragmatic will say, what's the point of even talking about it if I'm not going to get it? The whole point of it is a process, and it's about communicating and dialoguing about your needs, wants, desires, not just relating to sex, but also other areas of your life. So it is important to feel that your partner wants to give to you and to take what you can, and not be so shy that you're always giving that you can't receive. It becomes a problem in a long-term relationship when you cannot receive. Okay, so that's 3. The first one I mentioned, have a strong sense of yourself. The second one being respecting the differences. The third one being negotiating and focusing on a relationship where you give and receive. That it may not be all the way, but at least it's some of the way. That the communication does happen. And the fourth one is this spirit of learning and evolving. You may not be comfortable with something, but this is where you're at, okay? But how are you going to grow if you don't, first of all, you try, but also learn about it, because the more you learn, the more comfortable you will be around sex and sexuality, and you will actually have less inhibitions and hang-ups. So people who are more educated around their sexuality have less problems. And so even though you don't understand it, don't just seek all the answers from your partner. Try to seek it in other resources. For instance, going for sexual counseling, going for sex workshops in your city. So in my workshops in Singapore, there is never any touch on nudity, because I'm completely respectful of where people are at, which is a lot of times at 0. So I don't want people to be scared and uncomfortable coming to my workshops. So it is not true that you'll be forced to do things in workshops either. You have to realize that you have power. So these are 4 keys so far. And the fifth key that I have for you, I guess in general, has to do with an attitude of being sex positive, meaning you want to learn, you want to explore, you want to communicate, but this attitude of not imposing onto other people just because you have a healthy sex life and you want to have a healthy sex life. It doesn't mean that other people in your life have to have a healthy sex life the way that you want. Maybe they're not ready, maybe they're not interested, maybe they are very different from you. It's really important that this respect is not just respect of your partner, which is point number 2, is actually just a general sense of sex positive attitude in general, which means not imposing your values, your behavior onto other people. So this sense of respect is really important because you start to differentiate in your mind and in your head, in your mind, the difference between you and your partner, but also the difference between you and the world at large. So it's important to see our sexuality as an ongoing journey and ongoing relationship that we have that will evolve. Give yourself the time and space, to let it evolve, and give yourself that openness. Try and learn. And it's okay. Don't shame yourself where you're at. Let this evolve in small little steps. So I hope this makes sense to you, my little contribution on the 5 keys to a happy sex life. This is Martha. I'm a clinical sexologist and a relationship counselor. You can find me at eroscoaching.com. I'm also available via Skype. And if you have questions, comments, you can always post it in this video below.